All right, guys. DJ the Guildmaster with the Enchanter here. We're doing a ship review. We kind of want to do an unboxing, but that didn't work too well. Plus, two, we want to. It's out of the box, and we wanted to play with it as soon as we got it.
That's what she said.
So there they are. We're doing it with the tablet today, so we can get a little bit better picture quality. But yeah, this is the Providence class carrier and dreadnought. We just got this in the other day, so we're going to go over the ship. We'll do a little better quality thing of it. So everyone recognizes the Providence or the dreadnought class ship from the third Star Wars movie.
Yep. And Clone Wars, but yeah.
Yeah. Big old battle at the beginning of it. They're just broadsiding. Just a beautiful ship. We're going to open it. We're going to do a little bit of review, what we think about it. We're going to play a game later on with it to see how it goes.
Yeah.
So first thoughts, coming right out of the box, get my big old hands out of the way. It's a very nice looking ship. They did a good paint job, other than the front command deck right here. They just painted all one color white.
No.
Oh. But
I do think it's worth popping one of these bad boys in for a comparison.
Oh yeah.
In terms of size.
So go ahead, drop the Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer.
And I'll go from this angle. We're tag teaming it. Bloop, bloop. Providence.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the one thing you're going to see is the cost. These guys are running roughly $65, which really, really feels badsies, because it is such a nice ship, and people are talking about running two. I don't know yet.
Because that's $130 to run two of these things.
Right, and they're pricey. The ships, both ship variants, which you will see here in a second. You have let's focus here. We have the Providence class carrier. Okay, it's 105 points. And then you have the Providence class dreadnought. It's 105 points. Vastly different dice and upgrade slots, which we'll go ahead and we'll go over. For the dreadnought, you have one officer, one weapons tech, one offensive retrofit, one ordnance, one ion, one turbo, and two turbo laser slots.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus! Is that what I went up against?
That's what you. That's what you went up against.
Oh boy.
And yeah. Spoiler alert.
My bad. I ruined it.
We did play. We just couldn't. Yeah. We couldn't contain ourselves.
Yeah.
Which you guys will see. But
my bad. Anyway, yeah.
The way the ship looks, and there's been a lot of videos on it. It has 9 hull, 1 AA blue dice, defensive tokens that has a brace that contain a salvo and a redirect, 3 command, 4 squadron, 4 engineering. Then for shields, it has 5 in the front, 3 on the sides, and 2 in the back. The dial now this is where it really gets into the debate of the Providence for both of them, really. Because we'll have a side-by-side here in a second. Excuse me. The navigate, like its maneuver dial. Speed 1, you're 2 clicks. 2, pretty respectable, 1 click apiece. Speed 3. Tim, you want to talk about that?
Speed 3 is you point yourself in one direction, approximately like what, 30 degrees?
Yeah.
Either way,
yeah.
And you just go.
Right, like you're gonna fly with this ship.
It's about as maneuverable depth. It's less maneuverable than a MiG-80 Liberty type, which is saying something.
Yeah. So that's the real big thing. It's fast, but it's not very maneuverable. That, like you just said, Tim, you just point it. The dice is what's interesting. So your front, you have 2 red, 2 black, and a blue. So it tells me you want to be close with this ship.
Yep.
And then I guess splashing a blue is kind of good because it gives you that option for accuracies. And then the sides, we have 3 red, 1 singular blue again, and then 2 black. So the front and sides of the ship are fairly good.
Yeah.
So getting a double arc is really sweet, which we discovered in our game.
True, yeah. That it.
And the back's actually pretty good too. 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. So if you get in that close range with a salvo, you can do something with
Oh
it.
yeah, absolutely. What I'm realizing, because there was, I think I talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
There was some talk online about how annoying it is. Sorry,
Bless you.
coughing. How annoying it is that these ships are supposed to be older tech, yet they feel like they outclass the Civil War era ships.
Right.
I feel like the color of dice really shows that they are older ships. They are not very threatening
Uh-huh.
until you get into close range.
Right.
Once the black dice are added, then okay, that's like 11 dice being thrown at me if I get double arced. Oh boy.
I think the other thing is how they're getting around the older tech, some of the tech being better than new stuff is. These ships were built for a galactic war.
Yes.
They were built for a war, where if you kind of look at the Imperial stuff, it kind of was too, but it wasn't. It's really weird to me. They were more dealing with, I feel, other huge capital ships. And the Rebels did not have that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sans the Starhawk.
Yeah. So this is the Providence, the Dreadnought. Now we'll get into the carrier. The carrier, it has, it's a comms transport, excuse me. It has one officer. What's the dome called?
Defensive retrofit.
Defensive retrofit.
Fleet
Command. Offensive retrofit. And again, one ordnance, one ion, one turbo laser.
Yep.
So, and this is supposed to be the carrier. It feels very punchy. Mm-hmm. And then when you look at it, obviously it's the same, except it's anti-air. Oh, great. That's why you guys watch us, as we goof up stuff.
Yeah.
All right. And if you look at it, it has 2 black for AA. Again, 3 command, 4 squad, 4 engineering. It's the same on both.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting. Mm-hmm. Same defensive stuff, same movement. The dice is here a little bit different. The front arc's the same. Yep. So you have 2 red, a blue, and 2 black.
And the sides drop a red for a blue instead.
Yeah. So,
which is arguably better in my opinion.
It's better,
arguably.
But it's weird to me. It feels more like it wants to be close. You know what I mean? As a carrier. Sure. Now, obviously the Dreadnought wants to be a little bit more standoffish. It's going to throw more dice going in. Mm-hmm. And then everything's exactly the same. And it's also 105 points, which is also kind of refreshing. You know what I mean? For both ships to be arguably the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we've only played once with the Dreadnought. You'll see that in the battle report, our thoughts of it. But some of the cards you come with, your upgrade cards, this is where it gets really feel badsies.
Oh, I hate it.
So the 2 Admirals, you get, I'll use the ship as a stand here. You get Grievous and Admiral Trench. Try and get to where you can read it better.
Slide over, but there we go.
Oh, okay. Yep. So Grievous is pretty cool. Trench is cool. So how Grievous works, when a friendly ship or squadron is destroyed, you may choose one friendly ship or unique squadron at distance 1 of 5 of the destroyed ship or squadron. That's key. If you do, the chosen ship or unique squadron may either ready one of its defense tokens or recover one of its discarded defense tokens and then exhaust that token.
Which basically means just recover it to the red side.
Correct. Which is huge, but it also says squadrons. So if you have a capital ship surrounded by squadrons that are yours, and a squadron gets blown up, you can either ready or gain your token back.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, which is really good, I think. And unfortunately, how it reads is it says exhaust that token. I for some reason I thought Grievous would be exhausted, but it's not. No. And he's only 20 points, so I feel Grievous is more of a carrier-based
for sure
guy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He wants Vulture Swarms.
Oh yeah, and when we get in the titles, you'll see that. Trench is pretty interesting. We played with him today, and boy, I messed up his rules. You go ahead. You want to cover Admiral Trench?
Yeah. So you assign him 4 command dials of whatever you want. At the start of each ship phase, you may reveal and discard one of the dials. If you do until the end of the round, when a friendly ship spends only a matching command token to resolve a command, that ship resolves that command as if it had spent both the dial and the token.
Yes.
So, so it requires some planning. However, as we realized, what you can do is you can reveal a command dial turn the dial into a token, spend the token, and now you've activated Trench's ability.
Which I totally messed up. I messed it up bad. Trench is kind of cool too, because just like Grievous, these are probably two of the most look forward to commanders and fan favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like Trench from Clone Wars?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Basically a tactician Spider-Man, which Spider-Man, 2 words.
Spider alien?
Yeah, that, sure.
He died and they even brought him back.
Yep.
So that tells you like and he was only in a couple episodes. Yeah. The love of that character.
And then he died again.
Yes, I think for the final time, that one. And then obviously Grievous. Two vastly different. One wants to do like token shenanigans. One wants to just... I feel Grievous wants to get in your face because you're going to lose squadrons and you're going to be ready in defense tokens. Yep. I almost feel with Grievous, if you could put in Ruthless Strategist.
Ruthless Strategist, yep.
That would be brutal because once you fire AA, you do a damage to one of your ships. And if one's close to dying and it blows up, oh no, I lost a squadron. I'm going to ready defense token.
Oh no. Anyway.
I think that's where that's going to shine in. So those are the two Admirals that came in this pack.
This
well, let's get into it.
This makes me angry.
There's going to be a lot of debate over. Yeah, I know it's the same card. Yeah. Thermal shields. Okay, I'll let you go over that one again, Tim, because you have a lot to say about this card.
Medium or large ship, restricted to Republic and Separatist, 5 points defensive slot. While defending, as the attacker gathers dice, you may spend 1 brace. If you do, choose and remove, your choice, half the dice rounded down. That, I hate it. I hate it with every fiber of my being.
It's a rough card.
And you don't exhaust it.
No.
Yeah.
And I wonder the reason that you don't exhaust it is because of you having to spend the... spend the defense token?
You defense the break.
Burp, burp.
Hippity hop. Hold on. My brain just had a stroke because I just realized.
What's that?
I just realized how obnoxious that would be.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
I hate that.
I didn't even see that. Oh, no. So Grievous. Oh, no.
That makes me sad.
I didn't mean for us to go into the salt mine, Tim.
Nope. Here we are.
I didn't even see that. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
I probably would have never seen that for days.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts my brain.
This is the new hotness. In our test game, you'll see that it was brutally effective, unfortunately.
Yep. The issue is that you get to... Not the issue. My issue is...
I pick the dice.
Yes.
And your opponent has to suffer it.
So with most ships, like in the example of our game, you always pick the blue dice on the MiG-80s.
Right.
So I had no blue dice for most of my shots, which just feels so bad because blue dice, there's no blanks.
They have really good crits. They're the accuracies where everyone shoots for.
Yep. It gets even worse whenever you think about what this does to ordnance ships, like the Gladiator. You just go, or like the MiG-30.
Yeah.
MiG-30 rolls up and it goes, all right, here's 3 red, 3 black, and you go, actually, no, that's just 3 red. Ordnance ships are going to suffer against this, which, granted, there's probably ways to get around it, but you have to focus. You have to plan for this card alone.
There's the Empire has cards that gets rid of cards or exhausts them.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, I can see boarding troopers or any sort of boarding card.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to use that to get rid of that card.
For sure, necessary.
So, like, I think it's a number 1 target to get rid of. But yeah, you're right. It's game changing. It really is. All right. So what's the next card we want to talk about, Tim?
Let's talk about the 2 officers that come in this.
All right.
I was trying to read them preemptively and I didn't.
Okay.
So
we did not play with them today. So next game we'll probably have them when I do a carrier fleet.
TI-99 seems interesting. So while a friendly unactivated squadron is at distance 1 to 3, it gains counter 3, or if it has counter. It boosts it up. After it performs a counterattack, toggle its activation. So that's interesting. It basically says, while you have squadrons nearby at distance 1 to 3, you can basically just give them counter 3 at the expense of them being activated. Which is interesting. Like, I don't know.
I guess the idea is you use it. I think that reinforces the swarm screen because, okay, you're flying with them around you. The enemy gets in a range, they engage your squadrons. Well, in order for him to bomb your ship, he has to get rid of the squadrons.
Yeah.
And now, seeing how droids have AI and they only have AI of 1,
Yeah.
so they only shoot 2 shots.
If they're not,
Now they're
yeah.
throwing 3 dice for 1, and it just says counter 3, which is 3 blue.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
Right. And if you had no intentions on activating them anyway,
yeah, might as well.
it's just bonus. I think that's more of a carrier base. Again, another carrier based character.
Especially if you put what's the team? The one support team on your frigates that lets you move unengaged squadrons. So your carrier moves along.
Yeah.
The frigates come up and just shuttle them along without having them activate.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, Tyke's
that one's it's a mouthful for one.
I have not read it yet.
I'll go ahead and read it. It's a mouthful, and it's kind of weird. So when you reveal a command, you may place a matching command token on this card. Simple enough. If you do, gain a command token of your choice. So you put a command token on him of the command you just revealed, and then you get to take a token. Okay, so essentially you spend the dial, you're gaining an additional token, and you're putting a token on him. Okay, some juggling. Excuse me. Now, this is where it gets weird. During the command phase, if you have a command token on this card, you must choose that command on each command dial that is to be assigned to you and show those dials to your opponent. Then discard this command token.
Okay, so reading that,
I feel like he plays really good with Trench.
Possibly, yeah. Oh, yeah, honestly.
The token shenanigans.
Basically, what? You reveal a command, take a token of that command, put it on him to get any token you want.
Yes.
But then it'll be reassigned now. You know what? If you pass on using him round 1,
yeah,
that's not terrible.
No.
Rounds 2, 3, and 4, especially if he's on a big ship, if he's
Yeah.
on a 3-command ship.
Yeah.
Rounds 2, 3, and 4, you can completely plan for and get a bonus token of whatever you need.
Right.
Under the stipulation that whatever you plotted rounds 2 and 3, you now have to plot for rounds 5 and 6. You could probably, again, assuming you skip round 1 with him,
Yeah.
you could probably plan around that for only 2 points. That's not bad.
Well,
That's actually pretty good.
says you may. And here's the
Yes.
thing. You don't spend that dial. You still use the dial. You just gain a token.
For sure.
And then you add a token of any kind you want.
Yeah.
So if you think ahead, guess what? Next turn with Trench, I'm going to need an engineering. Oh, and guess what? I didn't have engineering.
Yeah.
You're going to throw an engineering token on that ship, spend the dial.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Whatever you want to. And then come next turn, hey, here's my dial. It goes in the stack. Okay? It's not that you play that card next. That goes in your stack.
Yeah.
So that would be the next turns.
Yeah. You would just have, he would require, for only 2
A
points,
lot
he
of
does
planning
require
ahead.
A lot of planning ahead. I feel like that could be good.
And I think that's the reason he's so cheap. They want people to use him.
Yep.
And once people figure him out, because there's a lot of forethought,
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a really good officer.
Him and Trench on that ship would be pretty rough.
Right, because if you can, unlike what I did in my game, if you can really plan ahead your whole token trench maneuvering, you'll have a boatload of tokens.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So that's the officers.
Now, may I discuss these? Because these are 2 of my favorite cards to come
Go
out
ahead.
recently. So we're talking the fleet commands next, yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with the.
You see him? Go ahead.
We're gonna start with the Separatist one, specifically Jedi Hostage, because I love the new fleet commands that are coming with this wave. So Jedi Hostage says when an enemy ship declares you as the target of a non-salvo attack, if the card is readied, the attacker gains a raid token of its choice. Now, obviously you see the red exhaust. When an enemy ship is at close range and reveals command, it may discard a squadron dial. Oh, it has to be a dial. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And when defending, if this card is exhausted, you cannot spend more than 1 defense token. Now, the bottom text is that's a downside.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. So basically what Jedi Hostage says is that as long as it's up, which it's going to be up until something gets within close range,
Yeah.
your opponent just gathers raid tokens anytime they shoot at you.
Yeah.
So it's a huge incentive to not shoot at this whatever ship that card is on.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's ways around it. Specifically, and I'm just realizing this now, it's
Yeah.
really flavorful, taking one of your Corvettes and just running that thing's fade.
Yeah.
Running up into its face, discarding the dial. That Corvette's probably going to die.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
that's really thematic, because that's how they'd usually do. They'd roll up in a Corvette,
Yeah.
jump out, save whoever was being a hostage on one of the Separatist ships,
Yeah.
and zip out.
And then the downside is
Once it's exhausted.
Once it's exhausted, it can't be unexhausted,
Unless by some other shenanigan means.
which I'm not sure what they have available
Not
yet.
yeah.
But it's very flavorful. You are correct, but it also forces you to get up into someone's grill. But I mean, ooh. But then the downside is you only get to spend one defense token.
Yep.
And let's be honest, that's pretty huge.
It is, until you have thermal shields on there, and then you're like, no, I don't need...
Yeah, you're only spending one at that point anyway.
Yeah.
'Cause it still counts.
Yeah. So I don't know. It has its downside,
Yeah.
but that is huge. The Jedi Hostage, I think it has a place. Some people might not think it's great, especially for that downside. But that really, especially against the Civil War era ships that have longer range attacks,
Right.
that helps them.
This game is very token heavy again.
Yes.
Now, Hot Landing, that
Hot
one...
Landing is great.
I don't know that you could use it for the Separatists at all, because I don't think anyone has Adept.
I'm not sure.
I don't think I have anyone.
Grievous, well,
No, Adept is what a Jedi mechanic.
oh, that's a good point. That's really funny, actually.
There you go. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get too salty because it's a good review.
Yeah.
I hate to say that's them putting cards in that you're going to need to run in your Jedi or your cross-faction cards.
It comes in the other.
Oh, it does?
Ships. It comes in the Republic ships.
Oh,
Yeah.
that I want or
That means you guys might get
that means we're going to be getting
Adepts at some point,
or Dooku in a thing, or Maul, or somebody.
or Ventress. Yeah. So anyway, let's actually go over what it
Oh,
says.
sorry.
So at the start of the squadron phase, friendly squadrons with Adept gain grit until the end of the phase. So right off the bat, that's just a pass ability. I don't even think it has a range limit on that.
No.
So that's really cool.
No.
Now, when a friendly squadron with Adept is destroyed, you may choose one enemy ship at distance 1 to 2 of that squadron. If you do, that ship gains a raid token of your choice, which is hilarious. Basically, you have your Jedi squadrons. The second one of them dies, as long as it's close enough to a ship,
Yep.
it just goes, nah, it's all right, I got this, lands in the hangar, and
Yeah.
just dishes a raid token.
Right.
Hilarious.
Right. As of right now, I think all Jedi are
All of them are
unique.
Adept.
Well, they're unique too.
Yes. So now, granted, it would require... This would be one of those, I have 3 points and the slot, might as well.
Throw it on there, and
Yeah.
if you expect to get in someone's grill with Jedi, and if they do die, it's an added bonus. Like, oh, guess what? Here's a raid token. Have a good day.
If you really want to get wild, you could run a whole bunch of generic Jedi Knights, but
Is there generic Jedi
Oh yeah,
Knights?
there's generic Delta 7 Aether sprites.
And they're Jedi?
Yep.
Oh.
They have Adept.
See, okay, that's a little different.
So honestly, like I enjoy that card. It's funny.
I'm waiting
Both
to
of those
see.
are really funny.
I'm waiting to get something that I can use with it. You know what I mean? And then we'll see what happens. But those are those two.
Now let's move on to the third really funny card in this. B2 Rocket Troopers.
Ooh, which I am really...
Do you want to read it?
Yes, I want to use this card. I didn't have the points in our last game.
Yeah.
So while performing a non-salvo attack against a ship at close to medium range, that's key.
R.
Okay, you may exhaust this card. If you do, the defender gains one raid token of your choice. For 7 points, it's exhaustible. But then, while attacking a squadron, you may exhaust this card. If you do, add one die of a color already in your attack pool to your attack. So not only that, it's basically like an on-tap concentrate fire for anti-squadrons.
Yup. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
That it's just, as long as I'm semi-close enough, I can start. Raid tokens are becoming a bigger point.
Right, and the best part is if you're running heavy squadrons, heavy squadrons, this is a good card because that one guy you need to kill, boom, you pop it. Especially if you're having like 2 dice AA. It goes with 3 dice attack.
And if you concentrate fire, it can be a 4.
4. But against ship on ship, it's still a usable card because, you're at medium range.
Yep.
Okay, that's blue dice range.
Yep.
Yeah, which I'm kind of surprised it's that far, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised it's that far.
makes sense. They're rocket troopers. They just zip on over.
You shoot them like torpedoes. Like, I just see them like, But then you give them a raid token just exhausting it. Now it is 7 points, but boy is that flavorful.
And it's funny. Like people, I know a lot of these games are highly competitive, but in my opinion, even with cards like this or Jedi Hostage,
Yeah.
the flavor for me is not. It's arguably more important than. Like, so what if nobody ever uses Jedi Hostage in like a competitive scene?
Yeah.
It's such a flavorful card, especially with the idea that a Corvette can be the best counter to it.
And you know, we talked about this, Tim, about having more boarding style actions. And you know what? That's exactly what this is. You launch a bunch of droids through space because they're droids, and they land and they start doing a boarding action, causing like, because when you board a ship in like fluff and even in actual real naval combat, whenever you board a ship, you go towards the bridge and engine room. That's the main places you go to take the ship over.
And in the Star Wars case, you might also want to hit up, like, if there's a weapons control center.
Yes.
Or the hangar.
Yeah.
And that's all 4 of your commands right there.
Yep. And so the fact that like now we have some sort of like raid-esque boarding action. I'm going to call it a boarding action because having a bunch of B2 battle droids running across your ship cutting into it, it's not good.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to use this card in another game, but it's so flavorful.
Now, well, this one's a good card. I feel like we can go over it pretty quick. The point defense ion cannons.
Yeah, it's you have points left over and you don't have a good answer, I feel.
Yeah, 4 points for an ion cannon slot, non-huge ship. While defending at close range or distance 1, during the spend defense token step, you may force the attacker to reroll 1 die of your choice. No exhaust. I don't think there's anything else to it. It's just, that's decent. I have 4 points. Don't really want to use the ion cannon slot.
It's basically an on-tap, because it's unexhaustible, an on-tap evade.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's an evade.
For closer, yeah.
And I see this, like, obviously the art shows it lighting up a bunch of squadrons.
Sparks, yeah.
That's what it's for. Oh, your bomber's here, you roll. Let's re-roll that dice.
Yep.
Let's re-roll that dice. Yep. Or even, and there's instances if you're, like, up close and, like, you're taking broadsides, you know what? On top of all that, go ahead and re-roll that dice.
Yeah. And that's, you know what? Not bad.
Not bad for 4 points.
Why not?
Yeah. If you plan on getting close with your opponents, I feel that's a good card to have.
And now, the last 3 things, let's see if we can line them all up here.
All the titles. We should.
Even if we can't, let's do it. Yeah, if you want to. And then...
I was a stacking champion in middle school.
There you go. So, the 3 titles.
Yes.
All of which have their own merits. Let's start with Invincible, just so we can not cover up. Invincible's real simple for, 5 points?
Which is what we used in our game today.
And you get a defensive retrofit slot.
Right. It's cheap. It's 5 points. If you put it on the carrier class, now you have 2, which is pretty big.
Yeah. Just as additional. Doesn't matter. Yep.
And obviously, I feel like you throw it on the Dreadnought, and that's how I was able to get thermal shielding. Because the Dreadnought does not have a defensive retro slot. So if you really want to have thermal shielding on your Dread, you kind of have to take that card. Yeah. You kind of have to.
But it's, for 5 points, really simple. Yep. Really nice. Now, I'm going to, again,
flip it down.
Shit ass.
You'll see us do a lot more talking about that in the actual battle report. Yeah. So now the Lucid Voice, which I'm trying to think who commanded that, and the Invisible Hand obviously is Grievous's flagship.
I don't think anyone specific. I'll Google it later. Now, Lucid Voice, I'll talk about real quick, and then you can do Invisible Hand. Lucid Voice is another pretty, sort of simple one. 8 points, so a little expensive. You treat your rear hull zone's printed battery armament.
That's key.
As 3 red dice. The reason that's key is because Salvo only cares about the printed armament.
Correct.
Doesn't care about the battery, cares about what's printed. So if it says treat your printed as 3 red dice, you salvo with 3 red dice.
Which is, I think, the most out of a salvo we have currently.
Yeah.
Because the highest we have is 2. And the thing with salvo, as everyone knows, you cannot add. You can modify dice, but you cannot add to it.
And now you also, the
battery armament.
Battery armament of your left and right hull zones are increased by a black die and decreased by a blue die. Basically just makes it a little bit more of a brawler. Another pretty simple ability. That's one you're probably going to have to remind yourself of.
Yeah.
But, you know what? Trade out a blue for a black die as long as you can get in close range.
And that's what I think that's what it comes down to. It's telling you, okay, you're going in, you're going to be salvoing in. Once you get there, you're throwing black dice.
Though, part of me would argue that would be better on the carrier So you still have a blue die.
Right, because you start with 2 blue.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be, but this is where I think the Invisible Hand is really your carrier
Yes.
de facto.
And, well, I Google who commanded that.
Okay.
Why don't you discuss that?
So the Invisible Hand, besides it being an iconic ship, I mean, everyone knows it. They even knew the name of it, and they even mentioned it in an episode. I think they mentioned its name.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they did. I think so. All right, here we go. There's a wall of text, but boy, is it good text. While deploying fleets, if you are in the play area when you would deploy a squadron with swarm, you may set that squadron aside next to your ship card instead. You may set aside up to 5 squadrons in this way. All right, so basically you're docking 5 squadrons worth of dice. Now, for the squadron command, for each squadron you would activate with your command, you may place one of the set-aside squadrons within distance 3. It cannot move this activation, and if it has AI, increases AI value by 1. So basically, it's covered in Vulture droids, or internally. As you're moving, when you do a squadron command, it says for each squadron that you would activate, you can literally just start throwing them off. Now, 2 squadrons that come to mind are the Tri-Fighters and your your Vulture droids. And it says their AI is increased by 1. So it can't move as activation. It comes out activated, and then, oh wow, that's even more dangerous, because when you activate a squadron, you activate a squadron, you up it by 1. This ups it by an additional 1. So your Vulture droids or your Tri-Fighters will be throwing 2 additional dice with AI.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. Hyena bombers throw 2 additional dice.
But they don't have swarm. It says
Wait.
swarm. That's the key word.
Pretty sure.
So you have to have swarm in order to dock them on the ship.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But how AI reads when you activated by.
Oh, so that only happens once. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that was like a constant.
No,
game.
no.
That would be dumb.
So whenever you do a squadron command, you shoot them out. They're activated. Yep. So AI kicks in. So now they get +1 dice, and then because of this, if it has AI, it increases AI value by 1. Yep. You're throwing 5 dice with Tri-Fighters and throwing 4 dice with
vultures.
With vultures.
No, granted, they can't move though. So you're basically just gonna have to chuck them on top of things.
But I think the part that makes them not pretty nasty is distance 3. Within distance 3. So obviously distance 1 for engagement. You have a threat range of distance 4 with them.
Wait, do Hyena bombers really not have swarm?
They do not. I don't believe so.
Sorry, my brain just went. Wait, really?
I think that would be gross, because then you could, as you're broadsiding a dude, oh, guess what? I'm going to throw my hyenas out. Yeah. Now I'm throwing 3 ordnance dice. Have a fun day.
I would. Yeah, no, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
Also, side note, Lucid Voice, it was just a ship at the Battle of Ryloth. No one commanded it. It was a ship. It existed. So there you go.
Well, okay.
Fun lore time.
That's good lore. I want to. The next game we play, I want to run the Invisible Hand with Grievous as a carrier-based fleet, because I think that's going to be so gross.
If I can get the Vendor in time, we could do Carrier v Carrier, because I'll do the Vendor 2 with 5 squadron.
Ooh. Yeah, because this guy, I think he throws, 3 squadron, we said? No, 4 squadron.
Yep, 4.
So that's the other kind of cool ability. You fly this sucker up there, you're a broadsiding ship, and now you're throwing squadrons on top of it all.
Yeah, it just... that's that.
That's our review. As far as the ship goes, I have nothing but high praises. It performed well in our battle report. The paint looks really good, other than, which I covered in the battle report, the front cockpit being painted wrong, and they used the same color paint for the engines, which I'm gonna change that. I'll make it more yellow color than more cream. But other than that, it's a fun ship. It's a large ship. So far, the first large ship for Separatists.
They're going to get the Rakusan, which is also large.
Is it also large?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But oh boy, is it spindly and small.
Ugh.
It's smaller than that.
That's kind of bad part about these new ships. They're very well posed. They're very nice. But boy, they have way more spindly bits.
Yeah, the Rakusan is like... Think of the your frigates.
Yeah.
Think of how spindly those are, but
Oh
like
yeah.
in
Longer way.
it's
Yeah.
rough. So
What are your thoughts on Tim? Like you've actually flown against it once,
you know
and
what?
we pretty much did a little bit of a review, which everyone else is doing it, but I feel like we needed to as
Yeah.
well.
It's dangerous. The arcs are real funny because I still find it weird how facing you,
Yeah.
5 shields in the front with a really good front armament, even though it's very much a broadside ship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find that weird, funny, but
I think that might be like kind of like the way to make it more balancy is like
yeah.
the front arc, the 5 in the front. I feel is because that's what you're shooting at as I'm coming in on you, and then once I get there, those shields are probably depleted, and now I'm broadsiding you. Hopefully, my long range fire has done its job and hurt you a little bit,
Yeah.
and then broadsiding.
But oh boy, if you get double arc by that thing, I'll
Ooh.
tell you what.
Double arcing with
Ooh.
this sucker, especially with the good weapons loadout. I can tell everyone right now, a good card to throw on here, and some will probably differ, is Fire Control Team. Just
Oh,
throwing multiple
God.
crits out into somebody feels so good, and it's
out of here.
it's brutal.
Fuck out of here.
It's brutal.
Oh, it hurts.
You do so much damage. That's all I really have. Yeah, unless you have anything else, Tim.
Nope, that's you know what, that's it. This is like a almost 40-minute video, so yeah.
Yeah, we're getting close, but it's worth it. If you guys have any suggestions about other stuff we're going to be doing, in fact, we'll probably do one when you get your Venator.
Venator and the I'll probably get the Pelta as well.
Okay.
Um,
I'll get the Recluse whenever it comes, which I
Yeah.
think that's a later wave.
so we'll say we also have our own unique one of these.
Yes.
It's really funny. I think I told you about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
We definitely will. But you guys will be seeing a lot more of the Providence. I think I'm going to be flying Sayes for a while, these next few battle reports,
That's fair, yeah.
because it's just a fun ship, and I've been waiting for this a while. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys, if you like what you see, you do all your commenting and liking and stuff like that. If you like these reviews, we're going to try to do more of them in the future.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
All right, guys, you guys have a good one. See ya.